sound to waft into the ears of the Snorlax. Welcome to the R&R Sleep Clinic for Pokemon. Thank you so much for bringing your wonderful Snorlax in to see us this evening. I hope you're doing well, and hopefully we can get your Snorlax feeling a lot better and sleeping a lot more restfully. So, I understand that after looking at your chart, you have indicated that your Snorlax is not getting a restful sleep. It's sleeping its normal amount, but the quality and effects of the sleep are subpar. Is that correct? Okay, perfect. So, what we are going to do this evening, we have a wonderfully plush and extremely comfortable bed and pillow for your Snorlax. It looks like it's a baby Snorlax, so we went with the juvenile sized, so it's perfectly comfortable. We have a nice warm blanket, and we are going to be monitoring and gently, ever so slightly, systematically, lowering the temperature of the room. We all know that sleep, quality sleep that is, occurs at lower temperatures, so as we begin to ease into the sleeping process, we will begin to slowly lower that temperature. Right now we have it at a nice 72 degrees, a bit warm for this type of Pokemon, but like I said, as we get the blanket on, we will begin to lower it. We have a nice diffuser here to disperse some sleep aid essential oils into the air and just keep a nice dim glow, which I think your Snorlax will find relaxing. And we have a few techniques that we are going to be using as well. Your Snorlax looks comfortable, and we intend to keep it that way. What we're going to do is we're going to relax it, ease it into a restful sleep, and then we are going to monitor it as we use some of our techniques, and we are going to see how its sleep waves look and how its body temperature reacts to its relaxation. That will help us kind of gauge the effects of the sleep and the quality, and we can give you some ideas of how to replicate these environmental factors at home. Alright, perfect. So the first thing that we are going to do, we're just going to apply a bit of sleep spray, and this, infused with lavender, is going to just gently relax your Pokemon and might even relax you as well. So allow me a few sprays. And that should be perfect. Okay, so with that applied, we are first going to begin with a gentle roll on the skin. This is a bit of tension roller that just is really relaxing for your Pokemon. We're just going to gently roll the skin of your Snorlax and try to gently and ever so slightly ease it into sleep. Just some relaxation on the skin there can be very therapeutic. Now we have a nice scalp massage tool. This will just once again allow your Snorlax to ease into the comfort of the pillow and sink into the softness of the sheets. So we're just going to ever so slightly massage your Snorlax scalp. This can be very relaxing if done correctly, and most Pokemon rather enjoy it, so I think your Snorlax will be no exception. One thing that I forgot to mention is that Poke Flutes are strictly forbidden in the clinic, which I can assume is obvious. So please, if you do have a Poke Flute on you, which I know a lot of Snorlax trainers do, please keep it in your backpack and out of sight, because just the faintest of tune from a Poke Flute can really disrupt a Snorlax rest. And that's the last thing that we want to do here. Your Snorlax seems to really be enjoying this so far. And as soon as we are done here, we will begin with the temperature lowering effect, and we will apply the soft Mareep blanket, ethically sourced, of course. Okay, we will set that to the side, and we will begin our sleep process here. So let's gently tuck that Snorlax in. These Mareep wool blankets are extremely adept at insulating the body, even in the coldest temperatures. While the air around your Snorlax might be quite chilled, your Snorlax will maintain a comfort level that is unrivaled. Okay. Now, the first thing that we will do is go ahead and lower that temperature just a few notches there. We will now go ahead and get a initial temperature scan and body scan. This scanner here, it allows us to read the body temperature of the Pokemon, as well as a generalized reading of its sleep pattern. So now that your Snorlax has drifted gently to sleep, we can now determine the quality of its sleep waves, which will give us a good idea of a baseline and where we need to go from there. So we will just get a few scans here. And then just a bit further away from the body, just to give a good variety of readings. Alright, so allow me to take a few notes here and allow your Snorlax to rest just a bit. So we had a baseline was moderate. And then we decreased the temperature to a moderate 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And Pokemon appears to be asleep. Alright, so as your Snorlax drifts off into dreamland, we will just perform a few massage techniques. Of course, in this situation, we just want to make sure that the skin is manipulated and not any of the deep tissue or muscular systems. This is just purely for relaxation and nothing more. We don't want to do anything that might wake the Snorlax. We just want to keep it relaxed. As you know, Snorlax can be extremely difficult to awaken, so things like this are nothing to worry about in terms of waking it from its rest. But the relaxation effects are still felt by the body, so it's a win-win situation. And let's go ahead and prepare to lower that temperature just ever so slightly. Sometimes from this angle it can be difficult to get an input on the temperature apparatus, so sometimes I have to try from multiple angles. There we are. Alright, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get a second reading here. Now that we have made several adjustments and a bit further away, and on this side as well, to get a comprehensive reading. Perfect. Alright, just a few notes here. We like to be thorough as your Pokemon sleeps. That way we can give you the best possible information that we have, and we can hopefully help yourself and your Pokemon at home. So we've now adjusted the temperature to 68 degrees, which is approaching optimal sleeping temperature for a Snorlax of this age and size. Snorlax appears to be sleeping soundly. And we applied a gentle massage. Okay. Now, let's essential oil diffuser here. Allow me just a moment to turn the dial on this side. Want to make sure that your Snorlax has the optimal environmental conditions for this study. Alright, I think that should do it. So, the next thing that we are going to try, and this oftentimes can really sink the Pokemon into that next level of restful slumber, if we at times apply a gentle amount of satisfying or appealing sounds near the Pokemon's ears, or even slightly further away, we can really relax and cause that Pokemon to drift into that most restful portion of sleep. So, things like a nice piece of bubble wrap can at times be really enjoyable on the ears. So it's something that we apply frequently for Snorlax. It's important to never actually pop the bubbles, but just to allow that gentle crinkling sound to waft into the ears of the Snorlax. Let's move just a bit further away once again. And back to baseline. Alright, let's go ahead and get a temperature decrease. Perfect. Alright, we're going to get our third reading and to see how your Snorlax is responding to the sensory additions to the treatment. And a bit further away. On this side as well. Okay. Allow me to just jot some quick notes here if possible. Your Snorlax is doing really well. So we do, if I can locate, there we are. We did reduce the temperature to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, which is usually the optimal temperature for Snorlax of this age and size. We applied a bubble wrap sensory treatment, and your Snorlax is still sleeping soundly. Perfection. Okay. So, the last thing that we will try to apply to your Snorlax is just a So allow me a moment and I will get that ready for you. So this method is tried and true with Snorlax. We have a bundle of leaves and a few berries here. Some of Snorlax's favorite food, and sometimes the sound of these delectable treats can cause your Snorlax to begin dreaming of food. And trust me, when a Snorlax is dreaming of food, the last thing that it wants to do is wake up. And a food dream is one of the signs of the deepest possible sleep that a Snorlax can drift into. So we're just going to cause some natural food sounds here and let your Snorlax enjoy. And it's perfectly common for you to also begin to feel just a bit sleepy. It is a relaxing environment after all. Your Snorlax already looks like it's enjoying those sounds quite a bit. Snorlax are amazing creatures with the sheer amount of food that they can consume. They're known to, I'm sure as you well know, they are known to consume a large amount of food upon waking up from a long nap. So it's important that once you do leave the clinic, you have an abundance of readily available food, because your Snorlax, especially with this food-induced dream, will be quite hungry. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get one last reading. And to the other side. Okay. And the last bit of notation before we allow your Snorlax to rest for the evening. So we have maintained a temperature of 67 degrees Fahrenheit. We applied a foliage-based sensory therapy sleep clinic, and we hope that it's been a wonderful experience for yourself and